my dear friends and net aspirants, welcome back to High Point. So we have already finished with some of the concepts related to cultural studies. Last video was about audience or reception studies and how they are relevant in cultural studies. And like I said in the previous video, from this video onwards we will start about how theories, various literary theories of 20th century influenced cultural studies and how they are interdisciplinarily, how they are making use, how in cultural studies we are making use of these 20th century literary theories. Why? Because basically all these things are connected to language, meaning making process. See, in 20th century theories, especially if you could understand that they are basically giving some sort of lenses for you to interpret various things. This is not basically telling a text whether this text is good or bad like classical criticism, but 20th century literary theories and criticism, mainly they are helping you to see and perceive and interpret certain works, not only literary text but anything else around you, in a better way, in a different way, through various ways you can interpret. Your way of seeing things will influence you, that will influence your thought process, that will influence your meaning make process, how you are looking at things, that will change the entire meaning for you. So in that way all these things are related to cultural studies, since they are related to human perception and meaning making process. And how meaning making is important we have already seen in the previous videos, and if you have missed any of the previous videos, I have given the link in the I button as a playlist. The whole videos that we covered in cultural studies, you can click it and you can watch them, okay, if you have missed any of it. So from here we are starting with a new thing in cultural studies, in which we are analyzing how these 20th century literary theories are connected to cultural studies, how cultural studies are using these theories in their various studies of cultural artifacts or cultural objects and events. Okay, so before beginning, let me tell you that don't forget to follow me on Instagram, because I am sharing lot of free materials related to NTA, UGC, NET, JRF, English language and literature in the form of study cards, small videos, carousels, photos, pictures and stories. In the story, in every Monday we have a particular quiz going on about a particular topic, in which we will be sharing 10 to 15 questions. So if you are aspiring NET in a really serious manner, you can come there and have and attempt all these quiz questions and know the answers instantly. So Instagram provides many more facilities. We are going to use all of them. Sooner or later we'll be starting live classes. Every week we'll be having certain number of live classes, and also small videos I'll be publishing about some topics related to English literature. And along with that, we have a WhatsApp group in which I'm sharing daily quiz question and answer, along with the news and updates related to NTU, UGC, NET, and also some study materials as well. So if you want to join the WhatsApp group, if you are interested, you can go to the description box and click the link and join, or you can directly message me in this number so that I can share you the link, and you and your friends, those who are interested, can join it freely. And also, more than that, we have a website in which we are sharing lot of sufficiently arranged and well arranged, systematically produced and simplified study materials there in the form of 900 plus audio lectures. See, we have simplified the indicative syllabus, NTA UGC syllabus, the new revised syllabus for you there, under 10 categories, under 10 topics. You can have the free trial there in website and have the demo materials, and also know and see what we have provided there. And if you are interested in having all these things along with this 900 plus audio lectures, you can have downloadable 300 plus PDF materials about selected topics, and also the whole set of previous question papers and practice question papers, practice set of question papers, that which you can attempt live in the website and know your progress and marks. So the facilities never end there. See, once you join for the course, now a 15% of off is going on for the fee structure, and if you are interested in joining, and after joining the course you will be getting 2 bonuses, 2 offers, for which we are not paying anything so far as such. And the 2 bonuses are weekly test in every Saturday. See, what are the benefits of having a test? Because this will keep you in persistent in your studies, consistently in your studies, and this will provide you extra knowledge about a particular subject. Okay, so don't miss this chance. And also along with that, we will be giving a personalized study guidelines for you. Now today's topic, like you can say, is structuralism and cultural studies. Okay, structuralism and cultural studies. We have already done post-colonialism and cultural studies. So similar way, we will be looking at how there will be an introduction about structuralism and how the major tenets and concepts related to structuralism are relevant in cultural studies as well. Okay, so first of all, let's have an introduction about structuralism as such. So whenever you hear structuralism, you have to remember about Ferdinand de Saussure. Okay, Ferdinand de Saussure. So about structuralism and its key terms and key figures and key texts and major concepts related to structuralism, what is it all about, we will be discussing yet another video which will come under literary theory and criticism. Okay, now I will be giving a general idea about structuralism. So Ferdinand de Saussure, this linguist, he is the one who came up with the structuralist idea of language as a system of signs, and signs contain 2 elements in it, signifier and signified. So sign is a combination of signifier and signified. So all those things we can see that Ferdinand de Saussure's a course in general linguistics which was published in 1916. So there he shares many fundamental, basic and elemental assumptions related to language and this system of sign. So he referred language as a system of sign, and these are the 3 major fundamental assumptions and features that he cited, that he pointed out about these signs and about this system of signs, that is language. Okay, so he said that language, the characteristics of language as arbitrariness, relational and systematic. So we'll look at that in detail. See, like I said, language is a system of signs. Sign means what? Signs can be anything, right? Anything that is around you is a sign. So when you see a picture, that is a sign. If you see a traffic signal, that is a sign. If you see an object, then that is a sign. So sign contain 2 things. What are they? Signifier and signified. What is a signifier? Signifier is a word or a sound of that word or an image. So if you are seeing the red light in the traffic light, then that is a signifier. Okay, if you are seeing the picture of Mahatma Gandhi, then that is a signifier. If you are hearing my sound, I mean if you are hearing some words produced here, then that is a signifier. Okay, and what is signified? Signified is the meaning behind that object or image or that sound, the meaning that is there in your mind. So as soon as you see this image or object or you hear this sound, what meaning comes into your mind, that is signified. Okay, I hope that is clear, signifier and signified. So sign is a combination of signifier and signified. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. And language is a system of this kind of signs. Language doesn't simply mean that the language that is shared through words and sentences or the printed things that we can see in a book or text, but anything that is around you. Okay, if it's a picture, if it is a room, if it is a shirt, if it is your dress, if it whatever be that subject, object or sound or concept about abstract or concrete things that you can find around you, that you can imagine, all these things are signs, hence all of them are language too. Okay, so let me come into these 3 basic fundamental assumptions that Ferdinand de Saussure put forwarded or outlined in his work. Okay, the first one is arbitrariness. Arbitrariness. What is arbitrariness? So since when you hear this particular word arbitrariness, you have to remember this sentence. There is no one-to-one connection between the sign and its meaning, or the signifier and the signified. See, Cat, take the example of the word cat. You know what is cat, right? Cat is an animal and it has 4 legs, it has fur, and it is somewhat look like a miniature shape of a tiger, like, you know, it's an carnivorous animal. So in that way you can define this cat in many ways. But the cat never came to you and told you that, see, my name is cat, you have to call me a cat. No, cat never, the word itself does not contain its meaning. That's why the cat is the sign, and that there is a meaning for this word, and there is no one-to-one connection. There is no connection between the word and its meaning. That is arbitrary. The meaning of that word and the word, their relation is arbitrary, in the sense that this meaning, how this word got this meaning, just because of convention, our usage, because of certain cultural things, and because our continuous usage. So we are recurrently, we used that. Just because of that, the cat, that word got a meaning, a certain kind of meaning. Not because of that the animal came to you and told you that, see, my name is cat. No, simply because in your mind you have a meaning for cat in the system of English language. But take any other example, take any other word. Okay, see, in Hindi cat is called as Billy, in Malayalam it is Poocha. So in that way, if there is an arbitrary, there is a relation between a word and its meaning, then universally everywhere it should be known like that, right? Universally cat should be called as cat or Poocha or Billy if there is a connection going on. So there is a word and there is a sign and there is a meaning, there is a signified meaning for it, and there is no arbitrary connection, there is no, it's arbitrariness, it's called arbitrariness. So there is no one-to-one connection between this word and its meaning. Somewhat because of some cultural background, some of our usage, or because of the, you know, because of recurrent and continuous use, and in a particular situation it got its meaning and signification, and we are sticking to that signification, and it will go, it goes like that, it occurred the meaning like that. So I hope this idea was clear to you. And relational, next fundamental assumption is that relational. That means, you know, take the example of cat. What is a cat? Cat is not a dog, cat is not a hat, cat is not a mat, cat is not a bat, but it is something else, it's an animal. So if you want to know the meaning of something, you have to you have to know the relation. So a meaning, a word got its meaning, or a word got some signification in relation to many more things that are there in that system of signs. So both the meaning of a sign is derived through both differences and relations. I hope this idea is also clear. Then systematic. So language actually constitute our world and every other existence. Have you ever think about a world without any language? Can you perceive anything? You are perceiving, your perception is limited to your language. If you don't have a certain meaning, if you don't have a certain name, then if you don't have a certain word in your system, then you cannot just perceive it. You know, can you imagine a name for an alien? Can you imagine? Can you imagine a word for an alien? Because alien is not since we know we have a word known as alien, but alien does not exist in your culture or in your reality. So you just cannot assume any name for an alien, just like you can assume a name for an individual, a human being. It is so difficult. You just cannot create a name for an alien that stands beyond your language. If it is there, that concept is there in your language, then only in your culture, in your familiar situation, then only you can perceive it. Otherwise you cannot perceive it. So that's why, you know, language is the thing, is the major weapon that we have here, and language constitute our world, our every perception, our every existence, and we need to analyze how meaning is produced through the act of language. So we are using language. When I say language, don't restrict it to the language that we are speaking, or the language, the printed language that we can see in a book or we can listen to. But language as a thing, as a system of science, everywhere it is there, right? Everywhere we can see this system of language, as language is system of science, and we need to understand the set of structures in language that enable to speak and make sense. See, we are using language to create meaning, and we are using language to create text. We are, you know, using language to create and, you know, circulate and exchange and maintain meaning throughout our life. So language is system of science, and we need to find and we need to understand and study this system of science, that is structure. This system of science, there are various system of science that we could see around us, that we can see and have in our language, that we are using in language, which enable us to create meaning, which enable us to create texts, which enable us to create, you know, whatever perception we have. So it's important that we study this system of science in order to understand, you know, how meanings are produced. Okay, so in that sense you have to see structure. Okay, in a structure, so there will be lot of science, there will be lot of patterns available, and a structure will basically have what? A structure will basically have a center, and if there is a center, then there will be a margin too. So we will discuss that later. Okay, moving on, structuralism and cultural studies. So when I say structuralism, don't imagine the structure of a poem, structure of a novel, structure of a drama. So we have such formalistic structure is there that we are studying in Russian formalism and especially in poetry, right? Structuralism, we are, what is structure in structuralism is somewhat different. It is not a simple pattern that we can see directly. See, just like the pattern of solar system, just like the pattern of our country, we are following a pattern. It is not simple as that. The structure that we are referring in structuralism is somewhat different. It's a pattern, it's a system, there is a structure. All are correct, but the structure is too different. The structure that we have in structuralism is different. Okay, see, I'll simplify it for you. Please listen carefully. Okay, language is the thing that we have in order to perceive everything. We cannot have a perception beyond our language. And according to Ferdinand de Saussure, what is language? Language is system of sign. And using this system of signs, we are conversing with each other, we are making meanings, and we are perceiving things, and at the same time what we are doing, we are also making texts. Okay, the literary text, novels, drama, or any other text we are creating using this system of signs. Okay, so what kind of structures we are using in order to create, what kind of signs we are using in order to create this text. Take the example of literary text. Okay, how this particular poem is created, not in the sense of the formal structure of that poem, but how this is created. So what kind of structures we can see there? Structures in the sense system of signs we can see there. So patriarchy is a structure that we can see there. There are various kind of structures. So if patriarchy is the structure, if colonialism is the structure, capitalism is the structure that is prominent there, and if feminism is the structure that is prominent there, then whatever this structure, give legitimacy, give approval, okay, then all other things will be marginalized. Okay, if you could understand. See, take the example of you being a Hindu. Take the example that you are follower of a Hindu religion. You are a staunch Hindu believer. Okay, so whatever that goes against Hindu belief system, you won't consider, you won't believe, or you won't even take a discussion about it, right? Or you will continuously negate in against about that particular belief system which is against your belief system of being a Hindu, a staunch Hindu believer, right? So your structure is that Hindu religious belief, and your center is that you are a staunch Hindu believer, and that is the center of your structure. So whatever goes against it, or whatever comes in opposition with this belief system, everything will be pushed to margins. Okay, so a structure will approve whatever its center approves of. Okay, so I hope that kind of a structure is there in every other text, because it is a system of science, and in system of science we have structures, and that structure is the thing that enables a particular kind of meaning evolved in that particular text. But when it comes to post-structuralism and deconstruction, they say that, you know, when you are looking at a text and you are looking for a structure, then definitely you are coming up with that structure, and meanings are approved by that structure only. But you have to look for various other kind of structures, various other kind of centers are there inside a text. That's how we can have a post-colonial study in Shakespearean literature. That's how we can have a feministic study in My Last Duchess by Browning. That's how we can have various kinds of colonial kind of structures. That's how Edward Said was able to see colonialism in Charles Dickens novels. Okay, so in that way they could analyze more than what the author has prominently said. Okay, so in that way structure, you have to view structure in that sense, various structures available in a text, and there will be a prominent structure available for you to read and understand it, and there will be marginalized structures and meanings as well. You have to unearth them through reading. That's what post-colonialism, that's what deconstruction often we refer, and we define deconstruction as something goes beyond, or something goes against the text. It is not actually going against the text, but actually reading beyond the structure, the prominent structure that are there, by unearthing other structures and meanings. Okay, I hope structuralism, the basic idea of structure and structuralism is clear to you. We will discuss it in elaborate when we discuss structuralism alone in a particular video. Okay, now let's continue. If you have any doubts, don't hesitate to message me and ask. Okay, structuralism seeks the processes of meaning production. That is how the text construct meaning. See, there are many other novels. Take the example of Charles Dickens novel. There Edward Said says that mainly you can see the Western people, they are getting more prominence, and the Oriental people, especially the Asians and the Eastern people, they are portrayed in such a way that they are less civilized. In that way it is portrayed, because Charles Dickens produced and conducted the construction of that particular novel, or any particular novel of that matter. His works that he conducted mainly on the basis of Occidental Western ideas, the Western popular ideas that he brought about in his works. And that is not a prominent idea in any of his novels, okay? But still Edward Said could bring about, and which was not at the surface. He went to the deeper meaning and deeper structure of that novel and brought about the meaning. So the structure of capitalism, the structure of empire, or the colonialism, that is what made Charles Dickens to construct his work in such a way. Okay, that is the major structure there. So it's a process of meaning production. So we are using a particular kind of structure in order to create meaning, and this is how a text is constructed by meanings, or meaning is constructed in a text. So in Charles Dickens' work, Oriental people or Asian people are represented in such a way, in a particular way, which is not in a legitimate way. Okay, so that representation is what creating that text. Anything that generate meaning through certain forms of representation. So in Charles Dickens' novel, we can see this kind of a representation. So that's what the meaning in that text is created. Through that representation, the meaning about Oriental people or Asian people are created. So that is the text. Here the word text goes beyond the meaning of printed words in page. So like I said, text does not simply mean that the printed words in a text or the things that we are hearing as I talk. No, simply anything that is there as a representation and that is creating a meaning, that is a text. Cultural systems works in pairs, or what structuralists call binary oppositions. See, cultural system work in pair means you have to understand here, this is what structuralists called as binary opposition. Take the example of men and women. Men and women binary oppositions. They are binary oppositions, boy and girl. So these are binary oppositions. How come they are binary oppositions? See, if you are taking a pair of binary opposition, take the example of man and woman. Okay, here woman is the one who gets less agency and man is the one who gets upper hand. Because in every other binary opposition, the first term will get an upper hand and the second term that we have always get a lower hand. That's, they are in continuous kind of friction, tension will be going on there in order to have upper hand. But you know, since a particular structure approves the first term, that means in every other binary opposition it is like that. Okay, the first term, it is actually what? Actually the prominent one, while the second one is the oppressed one. Take the example, it will get less importance. Okay, man and woman. Just like language system, cultural system too work in relations and oppositions. See, if you want to know what is the meaning of male, you have to know what is a female or what it is not. Okay, what is the opposite of, or what is the difference between male, the word male possessed with other words. You just cannot understand a meaning of a word as its own. It is not like that. It has a relation of familiarity or relation of opposition with other signs in a culture, other signs in this cultural system. That's how cultural system also works, just like language system or linguistic system. Here meaning is a combination of two, the grammar of the text and the grammar of the cultural context. Here meaning is a combination of two. So if you are having a representation and we are having a meaning out of it, this meaning is a combination of two, the grammar of the text and the grammar of the cultural context. So how this language is used in a text not only in the sense that we are having some printed documents there, but it goes beyond that. Okay, so grammar of that particular text, how language is used, and grammar of cultural context, how certain things are arranged in a cultural context. Okay, everywhere you can find this grammar. See, take the example of fashion. You have various elements in fashion. You have chappals, you have hat, you have coat to wear, you have pants, you have banians, you have t-shirt, you have shirts, you have kurta, you have sari, you have blouse. There are various things like, right? What you have in a text, in a printed text, there is a language and there is a grammatical rule followed there in a text. Same way, in a cultural context, there is a grammar followed. You cannot wear your hat on your leg. You cannot wear your, your pants in your hands. So in that way, there is a grammar in every other cultural text. So there is appropriate rules that how you should use a certain thing in the fashion. So in that way, in every other system, you can, every other cultural context, you can see this kind of grammar. So the meaning that we are producing in this cultural system, it's a combination of two things. There is a grammar of the text, how we are perceiving that thing, how we are seeing this image and how we are coming up with meaning, okay, in our language, and how this cultural context, grammar of the cultural context produces. See, when you see Mahatma Gandhi's picture, you cannot imagine anything else. Being an Indian, you will imagine him as a freedom fighter, as the father of our nation, and many more things related to him. So that's the grammar of this cultural context, and that's how you will arrive at meaning in a language. Okay, every cultural element got these two. So every other cultural element, if you are considering a meaning related to that cultural element, every one of them got these two, grammar of the text and grammar of the cultural context. And structuralism in cultural studies asks to look at the rules that govern meaning formation through a system of differences and relation between signs and their context. See how structuralism is looking at cultural studies. What is cultural studies, what is structuralism is doing in cultural studies? So it actually mainly look at the rules or various structures involved in meaning formation, whether it is patriarchy, whether it is gender differences, whether it is feminism, whether it is colonialism, or whether it is any other kind of structures. What are the rules or this grammar, how grammar of text and grammar of culture, what are the various structures that we can see there as they are governing meaning formation through a system of differences, and how they are arriving at meanings? You can arrive at meaning through differences and relations, and how they are using these differences and relations, and how this system of structures, how they are governing in meaning production. So that's what structuralism is looking at, or structuralism is asking in cultural studies. Sometimes new cultural or political scenario will inspire to create new cultural grammar of the text and grammar of the cultural context. So it's not that always this grammar of the text and grammar of cultural context will be the same considering any other cultural situation, but new cultural and political scenario, arisal of new cultural and political scenario will always inspire to create a new kind of cultural grammar of text and grammar of the cultural context. Okay, so let me conclude this video by telling that meaning is arbitrary. Meaning is arbitrary, meaning again it is relational, it is systematic. Please remember these two basic fundamental assumptions of Ferdinand de Saussure about language as a system and structure. And the text, you see, language is a system, and inside that system you can have various structures like patriarchy, like colonialism, like post-colonialism, neo-colonialism, like feminism. A text is a collection of signs that depend on each other. This is what I called as relational. Signs are not dependent upon themselves, but they are depending upon each other. The signs that are there in a system of language, they are depending at each other and arriving at meaning, since the relation between a sign and its meaning is arbitrary. The text have an internal grammar that can be decoded. So a text have an internal grammar means what? There is a structure going on. Not only one structure, there will be several structures going on, and it can be decoded, it can be understood. The grammar or meaning of a text can be deciphered in conjunction with other larger texts, often called as culture. See how you are going to understand the grammar of the text or the meaning of the text. It's not like you will be looking at the signs inside the text and you will be understanding and deciphering the meaning, but you can understand the meaning or the grammar of the text or the structure of the text by connecting it to the larger structure that are there outside the text, that is culture or that is patriarchy. Okay, if it is feminism, that is a structure, means structure in a text. How you are going to understand this meaning? You will connect this structure to the larger structure available there or larger text available there, which is also known as patriarchy, culture. Okay, so in that way you will understand the meaning. So I hope that was clear. Please understand major concepts that I said about culture as well as structuralism, because if you don't know what is the structure we are referring in structuralism, then this will be difficult for you to understand, because structure in structuralism is not only the formalistic structure that we can see in various genres of literature. It goes something beyond that, the structure of language, the linguistic structure that we are referring there, not simply usage of words. And how come these structures are actually enabling creating the meanings in the text. So understand it, and if you still have more doubts, please contact me in my WhatsApp number or in my Instagram page or through my website too. You can contact me and visit all these platforms and see if they are useful. Make most use of them, and don't forget to have the free materials available there Instagram. And also don't forget to visit my website www.highpoint.in, in which you can have lot of things. See, even if you are studying on your own, this will guide you. The things that we have provided there, the titles that we have provided there, will guide you about what all things you need to study, even if you are studying on your own. And let me help you for your journey towards NET JRF English Language and Literature. If you are interested, message me in this WhatsApp number given here. So that's all about it. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe to it. If you are interested in topics related to literature and literary theory and criticism or cultural studies, we are currently having 3 playlists, 3 lecture series. Don't miss any of them. So press the bell icon while you are subscribing. And yeah, that's all about it. Meet you in the next video session, and until then, keep watching my channel, and also happy learning. Bye bye.